Well, if you know anything about ancient history, I would think you'd get it in high school these days, but maybe not. You would remember Virgil's Aeneid and the story of the Trojan horse that the Greeks used to capture Troy. They won out through deception. They took out the Trojans through this seeming benevolent gift of a massive wooden horse. And they accepted the pity story of that man, the Greek called Sinon, not Simon, Sinon. And they let this horse through the gates. And they were led to believe by the Greeks, if we don't let this horse come through as a gift, then we will experience the wrath of Athena, the god Athena. The Greeks triumphed through deception because once that horse got inside the city, what emerged from inside? Well, Greeks looking for blood and power. Well, in a similar vein, what the Apostle Paul is getting at here in our passage is that there was a deceptive warfare unfolding in the churches in Galatia. By virtue of those that he mentions in verse 4, false brothers who were smuggled in, who slipped in to spy out our freedom that we have in Christ Jesus so that we might be brought or might bring us into slavery. And so, beloved, the passage this morning is to jolt us back, and the entire book of Galatians is to jolt us back into the reality of what's going on in the church. And it's been this way throughout salvation history, going back into the Old Testament. And there are plenty of examples of the kinds of tactics like the one I mentioned to you, the sacking of Troy, where those who are out for a kingdom, especially out for a religious kingdom, are going to use all kinds of forms of manipulation. They will act like hypocrites. They will play acts. They will put on whatever mask is necessary to gain a following and a hearing. And then they will devour, unwitting, prey. And so we need to persevere. We need to hold fast to the gospel, even if it costs us. And remember how dearly it cost the Apostle Paul. And we get a further window into the kind of sacrifice he had to make. And it included the discomforts of conflict and tension with dear brothers in Christ, to the extent that he had to oppose Cephas, that is Peter, to his face. He was willing to sacrifice friendships for gospel clarity. And so we need to persevere, as Paul puts it in verse 5, in the truth of the gospel. And that's very simply the message this morning.